4th grade, our first step is going to be, you need to find a box. So you can use, I would not use a big cereal box, but if you have a small cereal box, you could do that. This is from like a cracker box. You could also use something from like a box of rice, anything that your parents would be okay with you using, that maybe it's empty. Maybe you can take the contents out and you can just use the box. Check and make sure you're allowed to use it before you just take it out of your pantry. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open both sides of the box. Pull that open. We only need one side of this box. One of these long sides, and what you will do is take a pair of scissors and you're going to cut up. You want to try to cut as smooth as possible, so kind of follow that crease in the box. And you'll do the same thing on this side of it. If someone at home wants to do a second one with you, they could do one of the other sides of the box. All right, now we are going to take the flaps off, because we just want this middle part of your box. I'm going to take the top part and the bottom part off. Cut that. The next step, you can set this aside unless someone else is working with you. The next step is going to be, you're going to make some notches into your box piece. What that means is you're going to make a little cut that goes from the outside of the bottom. You're going to cut up into the box. That means you just make this small little notch. You can see how that moves back and forth. You want to do an even amount of whatever slots you do down here, you need to do at the top as well. I'm going to do probably 7 or 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You want to try to make them as even apart as possible. You're going to flip it over on the other side, the top side of the box. You're going to make the same amount that you did down there and try to line up where your other cut was. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this, you have made your loom. We sometimes call this a cardboard loom. And you now have notches that are at the top and notches that are at the bottom. Now that we have our loom made, we are going to set it aside for a moment and we're going to get your bags prepped. Like I said in the first video, our intro video, you're going to need at least 2 or 3 bags to use. It would be great if you can find 2 different colors, or if you're doing 3, you could have 3 different colors, but really you want to have at least 2 different ones. One is going to be for the weft of our weaving, and one is going to be for the warp. Now, to get our bags ready to go, I'm going to do brown for the first bag. And if you see, there's an edge of the bag here that you can kind of push inside and flatten, and do that on both sides. And then smooth it out so you get all the air out. Then we're going to fold it one time in half. And you're going to smooth it down. You're going to fold one more time in half. And same thing, I'm going from the bottom of the bag as I push because that pushes the air out. And it makes it all nice and flat. Your next step with this is you're going to cut off the open area where the handles are. So you're going to lift it up and just cut right across. This can be thrown away because you're not going to need that. I'm going to turn it. And now what we're trimming off is the bottom of the bag where that seam is. And now your bag is ready to cut for strips. And you want to keep them somewhat the same width. They don't have to be perfectly the same because we're going to be weaving them and you won't see how thick they are. They're going to actually get pushed down a little bit. But you want to be maybe, sometimes we gauge in our classroom about having like 1 or 2 knuckles of your finger. You want to be probably 1.5. So it's about 1.5 inches. And you're going to cut strips. And cut. And cut another one. And another one. Here is several of them. And what we're doing is actually making this, when we open it up, will actually be a loop. And we'll show you what to do with those loops in the next part of our video. I'm going to finish this up and then I'll do my white one as well. So please make sure you get your strips cut and make kind of a pile of them so you've got them ready to go for the next step. Now that we have our bags cut, the next step is we are going to be making the warp on your loom. To do that, what we're going to be doing is making a string of your different pieces put together. To do that, seems a little crazy, but we're going to open these up and you're going to lay one down with the loop open. You're going to take your next one and open up the loop and you're going to put it on top of your other loop. What we're going to be doing is knotting these together with a simple loop. You're going to take this under and through one loop, and then you're going to pull it back up through the loop itself. And if you see, I've got my hand on this one so that it stays in place, and I'm just pulling it through. Now, don't pull too tight because you can break the knot, and that would not give us any benefit there. Let me show you one more time. And you're going to keep, did you see I kind of slid this down? There's two hooked together. And I'm going to open this one. Open my next loop. I'm going to sit this on top of the first one. Lift the first one up. The second one is going to go through that first loop and then back up inside itself. We're going to pull it until it gets tight. You're going to keep doing that process until you have all of your pieces connected. I'll show you one more time. Lay your first loop down. The second loop that you're going to join is on top. You lift the first one up, your second one goes under it, and then up through the inside of itself. and you pull. Now go ahead and take care of making your loops connected, and the next thing we're going to do is get your warp onto the board.